What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best, and in today's video we're talking about version 1.04 for Tekken 8, the latest patch. I shouldn't say latest, the newest patch that will be coming to the game in about a week. It's not out yet, but May 8th it'll be coming. So I just spent the last 2.5 hours live on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/LotusAsakura. Links always in the description down below if you want to ever come through and check things out. But I just spent the last 2.5 hours going through the entirety of this patch, right? Lots and lots and lots of changes for plenty of characters to go through. I'm not going to upload that entire thing here on the channel. What we're going to do is highlight some of the biggest and most important things that came out of these notes. And if you guys want to check out the entirety of me going through this on stream, well, then you can check the VOD. I'll leave a link in the description down below. You can go through all of that if you want to. But today, what I'm going to do is bring you a recap. You know, this comes right after Evo Japan. And the only issue I think I really have with this patch in terms of the timing or whatever is that in just a few weeks, we're going to be having Combo Breaker. And like, I kind of wish that we were just getting this like today or tomorrow type, and not to be too impatient or like too pushy or rushing, but it's like, okay, they wanted to save the patch till after Evo Japan, but now we have Combo Breaker coming up, and of like, you know, a few weeks is still, you know, ample time, I guess, to kind of familiarize with certain things, but like, there's going to be enough changes here where it's like, it's a whole new version of the game. It's you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot to learn and get used to and develop in terms of both offense and defense, and you know, it'll create an interesting experience at Combo Breaker is all I'm going to say for sure. But with that, let's go ahead and get into some of what this patch is all about. First things first, there's going to be a Tekken Shop update, new items getting added, some Ninja and Shinobi packs with some new costumes that are going to be available for all characters, as well as a legacy costume for Lily, which was not specified which costume in specific. That was a bit redundant to say that, but regardless, it will be coming. I'm sure the Lily mains will be very glad about that. Speaking of Lily, by the way, and Evo Japan, big shout out to Chicken for winning Evo Japan with Lily. I don't think anybody saw that one coming except for Fergus, who apparently called it. But let's get into some of the notes. But first things first, I want to read this right here where they have a little blurb regarding the battle balance adjustment direction in the future updates. So in the scheduled release of version 1.04 on May 8th and in the planned release of version 1.05 in June, gradual balance adjustments will be made to address the following issues. So not only are we getting this update in just a week, but they've already confirmed that there will be another adjustment coming in June. I said earlier on stream, and I'll repeat it here again, that typically I'd be of the belief that there is such a thing as overpatching a game, and updates this frequent don't necessarily need to be a thing. I think Tekken is in a very unique case because this isn't a game that's already been completely refined and polished up to the standard that they want the game to be, because typically the way Tekken games work is that they're released in the arcades first. They get these updates, versions, polishes, adjustments, you know, fresh skins and everything like that over the course of a couple of years. Then they package it up, ship it worldwide for us to play it on console. They did that all the way up until Tekken 7. Tekken 8 is not the case, so I'm a little bit different with my outlook on it. I know it's a little bit volatile, a little bit hard to like find your footing and figure the game out and everything like that way, especially if you're playing this game competitively at the highest level, but it just is what it is. Characters who are not fully able to exhibit their unique characteristics and strengths unique to Tekken 8, characters with disproportionately strong moves or high combo damage, and situations where one player dominates the attack, making it difficult to utilize defensive techniques effectively. These are all the issues that they're hoping to address in this patch and the next patch coming in June. In version 1.04, adjustments will be made focusing on strengthening characters falling under Category 1, mentioned above, while prioritizing the suppression of the move performance of characters falling under Category 2. For characters with no adjustments in version 1.04, such as Victor, Lily, King, Paul, and Yoshimitsu, I don't know why these characters in specific weren't really adjusted too much. Maybe they felt like they're kind of fine, or maybe the adjustments that they want to make fall more in line with a later version that they already have in mind and that they've already kind of developed, or in the case or in the process of developing, they've already made some progress there. I don't really know. Time will tell. They do show up in these notes. Some of these characters, Victor doesn't, but Lily and King do. Paul does as well, Yoshimitsu. But it's like very general bug fixes, quality of life things, not actual like balance to the power of the characters. But regardless, but that stuff will show up in version 1.05. And in version 1.05, adjustments are planned to alleviate Category 3 and enhance the value of player defensive techniques by incorporating lateral movement strategies and adjustments to battle systems such as throws, heat dash, heat burst, and etc. I apologize. I feel like I'm talking really fast, but this is supposed to be somewhat of a recap, so I don't want to spend too much time on everything. But we're already 5 minutes into this video, it feels like. But yeah, one thing I've definitely gone on record to say is that it's a bit weird and like counterproductive how they buffed movement in this game and then kind of made movement not really relevant in a lot of situations because of how severe the tracking and homing and how plus on block certain moves are and everything like that. Like, I get it, the game's offensive, aggressive, mix-ups are a thing. But there were just certain things like Devil Jin Heat Smash and like June Heat Smash and just like certain moves in general that like you couldn't really step that feels like you should be able to step, you know what I'm saying? It just was what it was. But they're addressing some of that in this patch and addressing more of that in the next patch. Anyway, The next thing is throws. Then the other noteworthy thing I want to talk about is throws. Counter hit throw has been adjusted in this patch. Increase the input window for throw escapes when they throw as a counter hit from 10 frames to 14 frames. If you're not aware, counter hit throws have a shorter break window than regular throws. 10 frames is not impossible, but it's next to impossible. You're almost never going to be breaking a counter hit throw, and if you do, you were probably just mashing really hard. But at 14 frames, it's going to be significantly easier to do. Those 4 frames are going to make a world of difference. Adjusting counter hit throw is something that I think was a welcome change for most players, and myself included. And there's a lot of other stuff here, and again, links to the patch notes will be in the description down below if you want to check everything out in detail for yourself, or if you want to go through my VOD of me talking about it, it'll be there. But strong aerial tailspin is another one that I think is worth noting, because there are certain characters, Feng, who were doing combos where you could do like multiple of these aerial tailspins in a row in the same combo, and now they're limiting it to where after you do that third one, the knockback is a lot further and you cannot continue that combo. So just worth noting there. With that, we can finally get into the character specific stuff, and I'm not going to be going all the individual changes necessarily, but I do want to talk a bit about certain characters who are either big winners or big losers. And first up, we have Asuka, who sees changes to her rage art and things like that, like every character does, but she actually got a lot of significant buffs. The most important ones being these 2 changes right here, her while running 1+2 and the while running 1+2 during her little install that she has, her Nani wa Gusto. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation. So this move now gives her tornado on counter hit, meaning that she gets a combo, and during the install, the damage has been reduced from 42 to 36, but the trade-off is it went from being +6 on block to +11, while also being a counter hit launcher. I'm sure Asuka players around the world are going to love abusing that move because it's really juiced. Really juiced. Then on the flip side, we have a character like Azucena, who actually got a lot of nerfs. Her 1-1 string is now unsafe on block. It used to be -9, now it's -10. Might not sound like a lot in the grand scheme, but trust me, that definitely adds up. They also nerfed the 2-1 string, and more importantly, the down forward 1-4 string. You know, the string that jails, and then it has the high that's a counter hit launcher, and then it has like the mid that you can get hit by, or it also is like a great wall combo ender. So that move, they kind of made it so that you can't really delay it and like mix up your timings anymore. They also nerfed the damage. The hitbox of the second attack has been reduced and made it easier to sidestep. And that's a very common trend where a lot of these strings, a lot of her moves, they made them a lot easier to step. They decrease like her frame advantage on all these things. Like you see even on the 2-1 string, from 7 frames to 3 frames, from -3 to -7. So like still safe, but less safe. And of all things, they once again nerfed the while running 3-2, reduced the damage from 27 to 20, and reduce the frame advantage on block from +5 to +2. That being said, like there's this Azucena was definitely a character who needed to come down. And you know, they also give these balance directions for a lot of these characters, where they basically give you the philosophy and the idea behind the changes that they made and why they made them and what they're hoping to what's what I'm looking for, what they're hoping to accomplish by changing the characters in these ways. And so with Azucena, they wanted to tone down her pokes and kind of make her more focused on the unique aspects of her character. And that's an overall theme for most of the characters, I would say, in this patch, where they want to emphasize the things that make these characters unique and stand out from the rest of the cast and not make them just another Tekken character. So a lot of her just regular Tekken tools, some of her jab strings and while running moves and things like that, those were toned down pretty significantly, I would say. This is the 3rd time now, I would say, Azucena while running 3-2 has been nerfed. It'll probably be the last time it gets nerfed. I think after this, it should finally be in a good spot that's not OD. But you see almost all of these arrows are down. She's got a couple that are up, but this one doesn't even really count. And really, it's just this one where the damage is increased on her down back 3, which, yippee. Oh no, who cares? Then we have Bryan, once again, flipping things over and getting a lot, and I mean a lot of buffs, lots of upward arrows here. And, I'm not a Bryan player. I don't really know a whole lot about Bryan in Tekken 8, but what I do know is that I saw Ty and Tone, looking pretty happy on the timeline. So Bryan players rejoice. The craziest buff that he got definitely to me seems like his heat smash, where the damage increases from 45 to 55, which 10 points of damage, that's a pretty big jump. A couple of other heat smashes got buffed in this game, but it was usually like 5 damage. Like I think Steve and Leroy, they see like a 5 damage buff, but we'll get to those characters later. And then from +9 to +15 on block, which I don't know about y'all, but that sounds kind of crazy to me. Yeah. Oh, and I know that this one is pretty significant for Bryan players as well. The reversal break effect has been added so that it is no longer possible to mitigate with a power crush or attack reversal. I believe Tone was very happy with that change in particular, and if you play Bryan, you probably are as well, where you're not just going to get power crush for free there. Then of course, everybody's favorite top tier, we have Dragunov. Yeah, surprisingly, Dragunov was in grand finals of EVO Japan, but he did not win. But that did not stop him from getting a slew of nerfs in this patch. We're seeing everything from damage nerfs, like on his 4/4 string or on his down 4 3+4, to frame advantage nerfs. This one is probably one of the biggest ones for everybody, right? The down bag 3+4, his hatchet kick. The forward movement has been reduced, resulting in shorter reach, increased the distance between Dragunov and the opponent upon grounded and down hits, and added 4 frames of recovery time, changing the frame advantage on hit from +7 to +3, and also altered Dragunov's behavior when blocking to ensure that any character can punish with an aerial combo starter. I'm assuming that this means he is going to actually stagger or flinch and give you some sort of visual cue, lets you know, hey, that move is pretty punishable. You might want to go ahead and throw out one of them launches you got, whether that's a while standing 1, or in Hwadong's case, while standing 2/4, or while standing whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of characters that at 15 frames are going to be able to launch that move, but you wouldn't know it based off the animation because it's so ambiguous and vague and basically doesn't show you at all that he's actually pretty punishable on that kick. But yeah, that move was pretty OD. They nerfed it quite a bit from +7 to +3. They gave it less range, and it's going to be more obvious to punish by the visual cue that you get when you block that move. There are several other changes here as well, such as a nerf to his wall running 2, which now has a damage nerf as well as a frame advantage nerf, which I didn't really expect, but I welcome it with open arms. Dragunov got toned down quite a bit. He's probably still going to be a solid character, but probably not going to be in contention for #1 anymore. You see all the down arrows, again, links in the description down below if you want to check out everything for yourself. But Dragunov has been brought down pretty dramatically, and I think his reign of terror is not necessarily over for good, but it's going to be a little bit easier to deal with this character. He's not going to be quite as annoying as he was. Speaking of, you could say the same for Feng. We kind of gloss over Eddie. Eddie got some changes here, but they're kind of nothing changes. But Feng got a few nerfs as well. But with Feng, I bring him up not necessarily to go into his changes specific, other than the changes to his heat, right? His heat's going to be a lot less oppressive than it was. But I'm not convinced that these changes for Feng add up to him falling as far down the tier list as some people probably hoping. Frankly, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm somebody who wanted to see Feng and Dragunov get their legs chopped off, okay? And they definitely got nerfed. They definitely got nerfed. But I think Feng's still gonna be pretty good. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. I don't play Feng. Maybe a Feng player, a world-class player like Joker could tell you differently. But he still looks pretty good to me, but we gonna see. Then quickly, I'll touch on Huo just because that's my main, but there's not really a whole lot to touch on. He basically got no changes. This change right here is a very specific situational thing that only K-Wiz was doing anyway. I don't know who snitched on bro, but they took away a setup that he got from this that ultimately does not matter. And this is just a generic rage art change that basically every character got. So Huo is basically the exact same character. No nerfs, no buffs. I don't think he needed any one way or the other, so it's fine. Low key though, they could have buffed that. He smashed that shit ass. Then we have Jack, who their whole philosophy with Jack was they want players to use Gamma Howl more, and they want that to be a more effective mechanic for players to take advantage of. So we saw several buffs to that in terms of the heat that he regains, in terms of the frame advantages or disadvantages, such as this change from this being -10 to being -9. And again, like -10 to -9 and vice versa might not sound like a lot, but the difference between being safe and being unsafe really does matter quite a lot in the grand scheme, and it's something that adds up a lot. Like that change to like Azucena's 1/1 might not sound like I say, oh, it's only -1 more frame, but like that's the difference between like getting hit and not getting hit at all. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes a big difference. And then now this is something that when you do his Gamma Howl 1, you can't get hit for that getting blocked. So pretty good change for him. Yeah, Gamma Howl in general seems like it's getting a decent bit stronger. I think Jack was like one of those characters who was like not particularly bad, not particularly great. I think he's okay. His heat smash is kind of crazy. That being 10 frames is still kind of nutso to me, but it is what it is. I wonder how Anakin feels about this changes, and I bet he wishes that he had some of these before Texas Showdown, but it is what it is. I think he's going to be at DreamHack Dallas coming up soon, so that'll be interesting. Looking forward to that event. I can't wait to see that. The next character I want us to take a look at and talk about briefly is June, and that's because she got a couple of significant changes. #1 most noteworthy change being her heat smash. Have you ever fought a June player who did heat smash and you knew they were going to heat smash and you were sidestepping it or you were blocking it or whatever, and you sidestep and you still got hit by the second hit, or you at least had to block the second hit? Yeah, so that's no longer a thing. They made it so that her heat smash is a lot easier to step, so the tracking on it has been nerfed quite substantially. At least that's what they claim. Well, you know, time will tell. We're gonna see when the patch drops. But tracking on the heat smash has been nerfed, which is the biggest thing I wanted to see for June. But also they nerfed her healing a lot. So they also made it so that this character is gonna have moves where her Kazama power, she's not able to recover the health at all. Like it's not Grey Life. What sucks for June players is that apparently she's gonna get buffed, but it's going to be kind of rough for the next month because in version 1.05 they're going to buff the moves that take heat, or that take health. But for now they're probably going to be the exact same, except that the recoverable health is no longer recoverable and you're just taking perma damage. So it's going to be kind of rough for y'all for a little bit, but y'all be all right in the long term. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be okay. But yeah, the health changes and the heat smash change, those are the two biggest changes that comes to June, and the things I wanted to point out the most to you guys. Also, the bears got some pretty decent buffs, I would say. Lots of damage increases here. They kind of wanted to make the damage that these characters get on chip and on hit more significant, and so we're seeing a lot of that. Some of the changes that they got actually only applied to Panda specifically, because they made a note that where is it, right here, Panda had less usability compared to Kuma in the heat state, and so they kind of wanted to balance that out. But yeah, the bears get a little scarier, I guess. They're probably still going to be some of the worst characters in the game just because of the way their gimmicks and everything work, but they gonna hit hard, that's for sure. You know what I'm saying? You gonna eat that damage. Next, one of the most juiced characters in the game, Leroy. I didn't have strong opinions on Leroy's strength in this game, but I might after this patch, because you see up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, more frames, more damage, more frames. Like yo, it's damn near an entire page of just Leroy. You see Lily down here at the end, but her chains don't really matter. Paul, they ain't really getting no real chains. Raven ain't really getting no real like, and then you get to Steve, who we gonna talk about in a second. But yo, son, Leroy got juiced. Okay, you know what I'm saying? The Leroy players got to be going crazy over there. Y'all got to be doing backflips, right? Because I mean, it's just like he's the only character in the entire patch that got a whole new move. He got a whole brand new move. Like, he's the only character with this. He just got a whole brand new move. His sidestep 1+2. Sure, man. And then you have Steve, who also got a ton of changes. His heat smash got a buff from 45 to 50 damage. And at 16 frames, that's pretty solid. His rage art got buffed a little bit. The 1+2, where his the Sonic Feng would sometimes whiff after the first hit got blocked, and you'd be like -23 in their face. They made it so that it's more consistent, so that doesn't whiff as much. They also made it so that his pressure from Lionheart is more real now. I believe before it was like +7, now it's +8. Before you could power crush out of that pretty easily, and you wouldn't really have to hold any of that. Well, now at +8, you're gonna have to hold that. They also buffed the range on his up forward +2, up forward 2. I don't really think he needed that, but I'm sure it's a welcome change regardless. A couple other quality of life things, and then the one thing that is unfortunate that I saw some Steve players were kind of upset about is that they removed the ability to plink from Peekaboo into Lionheart. I'm sorry, did I say that wrong? Or plink into Peekaboo from Lionheart. They removed that ability. I guess that was unintended behavior. But I think they will gladly trade that off, or at least I know my homie June will gladly trade that off for all the other buffs that he got. And we actually saw Lowhigh pull out Steve in Grand Finals. Didn't work out. He only played it for one game and he swapped back to Dragunov. But hey, even Lowhigh tweeted out, is it time to play Steve again? So you might see a lot more Steve in the near future, because there's a lot of people who really like Steve. He's a pretty hype character to watch. He's usually top tier in every game. This might be the first Tekken game Steve's ever been in where he's not top tier, but maybe he will be by the end of it. So let's go ahead and just keep it pushing. Next, we have Xiaoyu, who actually got some nerfs. Several damage nerfs here that we can see, like her power crush, the up back 4 gets decreased from 26 to 20. Some of her heat stuff got decreased from 23 to 20, and some of her hypnotist stuff, those mix-ups actually got nerfed as well, where it's using more heat and she has bigger hurt boxes and more recovery. So, you know, I think Xiaoyu's still going to be a fairly strong character. She got a couple of slight little buffs in here as well, I guess, that are mostly quality of life or just like generic things more than anything. But yeah, I think Xiaoyu is actually a very strong character. That's kind of surprising that we don't see as much. I guess it's because she's more of a specialist character and she takes more time to like kind of stick to and like, you know, like really main that character. It's not that she's particularly difficult, but situational awareness more than anything, I think, is what that character is dependent on, and just matchup knowledge, I guess. But she's got a lot of tools that are really effective against a vast majority of players. It's just in order to utilize her to her full potential, kind of got to put in a little bit of work, and I got, you know, that must be the reason why we don't really see her too much. But last but not least, speaking of characters we don't really see too much, we have Zafina, who I don't know what they were thinking with this, and I don't know if this is going to be too much or not, but this seems like a lot. Okay, Zafina is easily one of the most buffed up characters in this patch. Her 1/4 string went from +2 to +22. Don't ask me, I don't know. Okay, beyond that, her down 3 has gone from +2 on hit to +5 on hit. And when you transition from down 3 into Mantis stance, that has been buffed from +4 to +7. And if that wasn't enough, while running 1+2 is now a homing attack that is now 20 frames instead of 23 frames, recovers 3 frames faster, went from +7 to +8 on block, and also leaves her in stance, which has a new buffed move in Tarantula down 4-1, which goes from -7 to +6 on block. Hey man, same man. I know Shadow, Sonic, Fox, and Chanel are jumping for joy. That's all I know. I can't wait to see y'all knock some heads in tournament because, yeah, Zafina got they gave her the sauce, bro. They definitely gave her the sauce. But with that, I think those are the most significant and noteworthy characters and overall changes of this patch. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot of stuff we skimmed over. If you want my full breakdown, like I said, that link will be in the description down below. There's also plenty of other creators who are covering this stuff as well. So if there's anything I missed or glossed over, you feel free to leave me a comment or, you know, check out some of the other great creators out there like FDX, KWIS, and everybody else who's making content on this game right now and having a blast. So with that though, hopefully you enjoyed this little video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who do you think is the biggest winner and the biggest loser of the patch? Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all this content that I'm bringing you. With all that being said, that's pretty much off today. And remember, nothing can happen until you swing the bat. Later.